Alrighty YouTube, welcome back to Shitboxery. Now to clear the big elephant in the room, you might have noticed that there was no video last week. I kind of took an impromptu break from Rat 10 for the holidays. I had a lot of Christmas shopping to catch up with, I had a lot of family stuff to deal with, so I didn't do a whole lot last week and Rat 10 just got put aside. That is the nature of being a one-man operation here. But hopefully this week we should be able to continue a little bit of work. Last time you saw me, we turned my garbage can, which was an old grease keg, into a nice, even transmission tunnel to cover the 6-speed manual in here. Now it is just tacked in place because I don't have any of the other parts done, and I'd like to get most of everything covered before I go through and weld everything out, just in case we need to make some changes. Now, I don't know what some of you guys think about the final product here, but I think this turned out incredible. I've had some questions about the shift boot not being mounted from the underside. I do have a piece of rubber that's supposed to go underneath to stop water and stuff from getting up, and mounting the leather boot on top is the cleanest way that I figured I could do it, while still making it look at least somewhat seamless to cover that gaping hole that I had the shifter going through. And with that being said, let's jump right into destruction. I'll tell you more about my plans for what's going on here after I destroy this a little bit more, because as you all know, to make your big hole better, you gotta make your big hole bigger. All you need to know right now is that if I were to sit in this, the floor touches the drive shaft right here, and I have about a ½ inch of clearance all the way back right until this part of the floor where it starts to slope up a little bit. I'm gonna do my best to avoid standing on the floor because it's very weak right now. Beautiful. So with that chunk cut out, if it's not immediately obvious what I'm doing here based on the pieces of sheet metal that I have, I'm basically just rebuilding that round part that I took out up to probably about here in the tunnel. And then I'm thinking before I make the rear piece of the barrel to come back here to make like a center console out of and some armrest and cup holders, I want to have a good base structure to the floor. So we're going to rebend probably this skinny piece of steel to weld into here, and then we'll use this bigger piece of steel to make some like trapezoid shaped pieces to come down to that, and that should make one very nice solid structure, and we won't have all this floor flex anymore. If the drive shaft's exposed like this too, there's one really big thing I want to demonstrate. If you're a new viewer to the channel, you probably won't be aware of the fact that in the back of my truck here, I have this Dana 44 independent rear suspension from a C4 Corvette. This is solid mounted to the frame, the carrier at least, this part here, and the wheels move independently of that. That's a very key piece when you realize that the transmission is also hard mounted to the frame of the truck, so that unlike a conventional leaf spring suspension solid axle truck, your drive shaft never moves under suspension travel. So like, I'll go in somewhere where there's structure. I can bounce the truck, which hopefully you can see is moving, but the drive shaft to the floor is staying exactly the same. If you had leaf springs that allowed your whole diff to move up and down, you'd have some suspension travel to keep in mind when you're making a piece of floor like this. I can, in theory, make it as tight as I want to that drive shaft, and it should never come in contact unless something catastrophic happens. But to be safe, I'm gonna make a nice loop-de-doop over that and call it good. This is actually a little too long. I'm probably gonna have that round tunnel come to probably here, and then I'll cut this ugly junk out of the floor, and then we'll start adapting it from there. It's not gonna look pretty, but I'm hoping that once it's all done, I can put that second barrel half over here and it will look fine. So let's go measure that and cut that to length. We need a piece of steel to be 16 inches. Surprise! Alrighty, now, how am I gonna bend that? 4.5 inches wide. You know what? Over a 3-inch pipe, I'm just guessing here, over a 3-inch pipe, that might actually unbend to look okay because of steel and springiness and science, I guess. This is the only chunk of 3-inch pipe I've got, but it might work. I wish I could have just used the 3-inch pipe, to be brutally honest with you. Who would have thought a 3-inch pipe is 3 inches? It might be all I need to bend this, though. Alright, we need a... Hang on. do be bending. Should I put some gloves on before I cut my hands wide open? You know, this would work if I had a fixture to put this in. The garage is a mess again, don't sue me. I so badly want this to work. There's gotta be a better way. I'm just big dumb. I don't know if I can do this. I do have this other chunk of stainless. I guess it's better than wrecking my brand new vibrant J-bend. Oh my gosh. Ah, that's wet. This is 16 gauge sheet metal. I would have thought it'd be this hard to bend. What am I doing? Fuck you. It's pretty good for blind welding. If it wasn't obvious, don't do this at home. You would be a lot better to put a welding mask on to do this properly. Wow, I didn't anticipate this sheet metal would be this hard to bend, man. I didn't expect that to do much. This is painful for probably you and me. Well, that's not gonna work. Oh, this was a stupid idea. Maybe I can remedy this a little bit. Maybe. I pictured this to go so easy. Maybe the heat did help. Ow, hot, 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 hot. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah, baby! What am I doing with my life? Oh, this was not my smartest idea. This has to be about the most hack job thing I think I've ever done. Oh no, my vise doesn't go any bigger. Huh. I'm sorry you have to watch this. This is the kind of hack job garbage you signed up for when you subscribe to this channel. Oh my gosh. I can already hear you asking, well, Alex, why didn't you just go buy the proper size metal? Because I already had this. As hack job as that was, it's only squared off on the one side, and I'm okay with that. Probably fix that, actually. Well, it's not very pretty, but it's what we're gonna get. Okay, let's see how it fits. That could be a lot worse. It could be better. but it could be worse. But I think it'll do okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. If you're just winging that as crudely as I did, that fits pretty good. Let's just say screw it and weld it in. Okay, I need a flat disc. Well, I'm not as sad anymore. Oh my god, this side looks so much better. Oh my god, yeah. The floor still flexes, but that's a given. Once this gets tied in, man, ooh, I'm not even concerned. One quick little thing, I'm kind of concerned after just taking a mental image of where this is sitting. My head is telling me I might be having some issues here. So let me grab a seat and check that out. The hope was that I might be able to use a barrel all the way to the rear of the truck. I thought these seats were pretty narrow, but that's not looking good. It's also probably a lot farther back than it needs to be. Oh, whoa. That is way far back. See, this steering wheel distance is okay. I don't know if you can see my right foot though. I can't reach my firewall. Shifter location's okay. I do have 2 inches I can move forward from here. Oh yeah, see, I have to... The clutch pedal is straight leg, and then even some toe would push it to the ground. Uh-oh. Oh, this is what happens when you just do things and don't plan. Okay, that's hitting solid. I'll probably put my gas pedal back in too for reference. Oh boy. Oh lordy. Not bad to get in and out of. I can't open my door fully right now. Actually, it's not terrible. You see that? It's a bit more of a reach than I'd usually like to have my foot. Full throttle is right here. So I don't really need to go that much farther forward. It's touching right here with the clutch. Well, I'm not straight legging it. Steering wheel, how about you? See, that's normal. Shifter. Yeah, I'd like that to be a little farther forward. Before I have to modify everything, I could probably get away with trimming literally just the first bit of this barrel off until my panel here. It's like 3/4 inch. 3/4 of an inch in seat position is a lot. And actually, you know what? The seat's sitting on the back, so it might actually tilt forward a bit too. You know, I'm not mad, I'm just ashamed. Probably take my shifter out, to be honest. Alrighty. Does need to sit just slightly off the back of the truck as well. It's definitely closer. Oh wow. That's reasonable. Actually, yeah, that's just enough room. It's probably about where I sat in the bench seat too, so oogie. I'm mildly alright with that. Building this part's going to be fun too. This is now sticking out just past the lip. I'll have to have a cover that kind of comes flat with a little bulge for that guy. My center console idea is now a wash because I wanted to have this all the way back. That was just a hope and dream down the drain. But I can mount some cup holders to this still. There'll be room between the seats. Oh, check this out too. I thought I still had the shifter in here. Apparently I don't. I had made mention that I lost the little ring you pull up for reverse lockout. So, you know, the shift handle would sit here, and then there's the little ring you pull up. I tore the Corvette apart over a year ago. I don't know what happened to that piece. But I did end up finding it. Check this out. Boom! The dealership had it. Yeah, funnily enough, I called it one of the GM dealerships local to me, and somewhere down in the States actually had this piece in stock. It slides over the shifter. It has a little set screw that grabs the rod in the middle, and then you pull that to get into reverse. I didn't really need to buy a new one. This cost me $50 Canadian, which is a little absurd. But I like original parts, and I like things to function the way they were originally intended. So I'm happy to have this. A little silly, but we got one. Well, it's now been about another week since all of that work happened. I'm gonna tell you why I haven't touched Rat 10 in that amount of time. It's literally left off from where I trimmed the trans tunnel and had the seat mounted in there. So I am a one-man YouTube operation building a truck out of my own garage in my own house. I work a full-time job, I have a family, and I have a life. And sometimes life takes away from the project. I do all of my work and I record all my YouTube videos generally the week before they go up on YouTube. So anything you see on YouTube is generally pretty live to when it actually happened. Lately, my house has decided that it wants to control my life. The garage heater went out a little while ago, so I've been dealing with a little electric heater, and now the furnace in my house has also decided to go out. I've spent more time than I care to admit trying to deal with the furnace in my house. I've had to take a few days off of work. I've taken all my time away from Rat 10 and just been trying to fix that, and then my backup solutions to keep my house warm to make sure the place doesn't freeze in here. I had a little red electric heater before that broke, so I had to replace it, and then the furnace is working so intermittently that I still don't know if it's actually fixed properly. I'm looking into just replacing the furnace. I don't really have the money for that, so I might have to just find a way to get by. I want to say, crossing my fingers, that it's gonna last for long enough that I can actually start doing some more work in here. Otherwise, poor Rat 10 is gonna keep getting put off, and I feel like I at least need to address that because I've been very lazy. Not to my own fault, just because of life, but it's life. It doesn't make me happy to see this sit here and do nothing, but with the weather that we have outside, hopefully you can see all the snow I've got piled beside my driveway. Rat 10's not exactly hitting the road anytime soon. I did honestly consider driving Rat 10 once it gets to that point eventually if the roads were dry enough, but it only would have been for a short little drive just to see how it does for the first drive, and then I would have had to park it outside and bring the next project into the garage to work on, to wait for it to get warm enough to actually take this out, tune it properly, and get it ready for the season. So with all that said, apologies for deviating from my normal upload schedule and being a little lacking in the work department. Life just takes over sometimes. I do have another video that I'm going to be editing to upload either with this one or very shortly after this video goes up, addressing what's going to be happening with Rat 10 after I get it to the point of being able to move it outside and park it, and some insight into what I have planned for the future. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed watching and come back for more.